Okay, so let's get started for today. Yes, 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 I am doing a critique hour on this League Splash. And I'm going to take a quick look at one of the biggest issues about it. I happen to have this skin, and I love ZYRA, but I am going to be looking at that one thing that really bothers me every time I look at it, and pretty much just talk to you about it, how it's possible that this artist is so amazing at what they do, made this one tiny mistake. And they might not have seen it as a mistake, and they may have known that they did it and did it anyway because they just like it. But I wanted to talk about it because sometimes we look up to these skilled artists and we emulate what they do. It just goes to show that even the professionals can make these tiny little mistakes. Even the professionals can overlook certain things that add that tiny little push in quality in the work. Portraits are the backbone of your illustration. Want proof? Watch today's recording. Watch today's critique hour. I'm going to show you how powerful it is to respect the portrait while you're painting, because it makes and breaks a painting. I understand that because it's a full illustration, mistakes made on the portrait can be overlooked, but this one mistake is just right there, right in the focal point, and is driving me crazy, and I have to fix it. So let's talk about what these mistakes are. So you can probably guess what it is based off the compilation of references I have. But before I get started, if you want to submit your work for critique, not that this League artist submitted their work for critique, I went and sneakily grabbed their piece to critique it today. Kind of just snuck into the League headquarters and stole one and came out. That's all metaphorical. I didn't actually do that. But if you want to submit your work for critique, go to istebrak.com and click on the subreddit icon right here. So the problem that I'm talking about, you guys have already guessed it, I'm sure, is the lip corner. This lip corner is so cringy, and I hate it. And it's not, it's not nothing against the artist that did it, but it just looks horrendous because lips, the way mouth is they do this. They kind of dimple in the corners. So when we stylize, if we're stylizing, so let's stylize this mouth here. If we stylize it in the same way this artist did, what we need to remember is that there's things we have to preserve. There's things that we can't get rid of. Again, we got rid of the detail but replaced it with highlights and saturation. Really good alternatives to detail. They're agreeable alternatives. So you don't always need detail, but this lip looks just as realistic as the one before it. So before, after. One is stylized, one is not. The things we did not get rid of are this shadow and this shadow, or this whole core shadow of the cylinder, or this core shadow of this cylinder. Each lip is a cylinder. So imagine them like two cylinders kind of overlapping each other. Basically, as they united with the rest of the surroundings, what happened is that a dimple was formed. This dimple right here. And this dimple is that dimple. So leftover of bottom cylinder, leftover of top cylinder. When we look at this mouth, it's missing the most essential core shadows of the face. So again, this is about how these fundamental rules aren't always followed or respected. And when we miss out on them, we kind of just get this weird limbo between realism and everything else. And so I'm just painting over it to try to get it to feel a little bit more like a real smile. I think it makes the face more charming. I think it makes everything look better. And I'm going to connect that core shadow back into the lip because that's the core shadow origin point with just the upper lip. And I'm going to give her this almost like a dimpled smile. Flipping the canvas, making sure I'm on top of things. I'm not losing track of symmetry or anything else. So when we flip the canvas, we notice something, that the upper lip right now is behind the lower lip. Where's the cylindrical belly of the cylinder? Where's that outward push of the lip? It was just flat. It was cut off. And then I'm going to talk about those teeth because they seem like they're forced out. They seem like they're being forced to show. This chin almost has no projection either, especially from this angle where we should see a little bit of that chin's projection. Nose is perfect. Everything else is right where it should be, except the eyebrows, which I'll talk about in a second as well. So I pushed out that upper lip, and I'm just going to continue kind of just creating this softer finish to the mouth. But I'm just kind of trying to find the Cupid's bow that pretty much got lost in all of this. And now I'm just blending. I'm just adding this haze of blending. I'm just going to use my stronger blending brush. And I'm just going to add it everywhere, including that space right here where the two lips meet, just in this area. And I'm going to blend upward. And that's just going to create a really nice kind of skin effect that reduces the amount of black in the area. Using kind of like a reddish pink on lighten to kind of just uplift this whole area a little bit with less shadow, except for that outer corner. And just bringing in more fleshy tones. And then I'm going to take this darken value that they have, this just kind of overhanging shadow, this cast shadow. I'm going to lay it over the whole face, and I'm only going to delete where I know there are highlights. So to show you really quickly where I'm deleting, just these areas. And I just use hard round eraser, and I'm just going to blend the rest instead of trying to do it with soft brush. And then I'm just going to lay in some general shadow for that far corner. That far corner is hidden by that upper lip. So it would technically not be visible behind all this projection of the lower lip cylinder, but still I'm just going to kind of blend it in, indicate that there is this two cylinders on each other, just like that. And that shadow is kind of just emerging. Whatever's left over from this perspective for that far lip. And then finally, I'm going to grab Dodge Tool because this is the area that's visible. And this is the only area that is relieved of the cast shadow. I'm going to just now add in those final little peak highlights on the chin, on the Cupid's bow, on the side of the nostril, the side of the septum right there. Just see that? That little bit there goes a long way. And of course, just trying to even out anything that may age her. And I'm just going to make sure that the corners of the mouth don't feel gray, that they still feel kind of pink and fleshy. The next thing I'm going to do is talk about the eyebrow placement. So when you look at eyebrows from front view, right? So let's say there's eyebrows right here. Okay, we got eyebrows, right? And then there's the eye looking forward. This space right here gets further from the eye and ends up here with low angle camera, because this whole space is moving away from the camera. It's z-axis. So remember that an XYZ makes a cube, right? X, Y, and Z. Z makes the cube. So this is the part of the cube of the whole forehead and eye socket. This is further from the camera. The eye socket crease is further from the camera than the eyebrow. So when we look from a low angle, suddenly we can see the bottom of the cube, which is the bottom of the eyebrow or the lower eyebrow area. So why are the eyebrows so close to the eye in this low angle? If it was front view again, the eyes would look like this. And I'm just seaming it in, but I'm just going to give her eyebrow a little bit more lift and then give this one a bit more lift as well. So that will kind of complete that evil eyebrow look, that kind of Maleficent eyebrow or Ursula eyebrow, which is a really popular go-to for a temptress, evil lady type of character trope. And then from the low angle, the lower eyelid is more visible, so you want to throw in a little bit more value for that lower eyelid. She's also squinting. Some highlights may meet the upper eyebrow area just there. And then letting that shadow in between the eyebrows also develop this important shadow right here. Then I'm just going to match the back you guys have seen this before, it's a very common mistake, which is to match the cheekbones of the non-rotated side to the rotated side, meaning that these cheekbones have to be tucked in on the fatty side and tucked out, or pushed out on the cheekbone side, because look how sharp this cheekbone is. It's chiseled in. And so it's going to stick out a little bit more to match these two sides together. So you could, if you wanted to, have this entire forehead catch more light. You're just using like the environment blue. See how there's a lot of blue in here? The lip feels like it's actually smiling and pushing against the surrounding skin and muscles. It feels like it's folding. It feels like it's actually dimpling. And it just made her look so realistic. And something I want to do is just kind of give her a bit of that defined smile fat, just like that. I feel like it makes her look so cool. And it's such a small little smile, but it just makes her look so, I don't know, it just makes her look more realistic. That little bit of fat jumbling up around the cheekbone. Just there. It kind of just made her look a little older, but still very sexy. And now I just kind of want to make her face a little bit more wet, a little bit more shiny. And that's really easy to do. You just, I'm just going to duplicate the layer, and I'm just going to try to find all the areas where we have shadow. And I'm just kind of expanding on the highlights already in there. And one more thing I'm going to do actually is get a saturated kind of purple tone on black on a new layer with low opacity on soft brush, and slowly recede the back furthest most point of the face as if to kind of push it in between the hair. See that? It's crazy what it did. It just kind of made things look more three-dimensional and rotate away from the camera. And it kind of reduced a little bit of that oversized forehead. Okay, let's take a look at the before and after. Before, after. So a lot more realism, sure. The character may have changed a little bit, but you guys see why I cringed every time I looked at it? The teeth were all the way out here, and the mouth and the nose kind of didn't match up with that Cupid's bow. And then the lower lip and the upper lip both didn't really have a cylindrical shape to them, and it just didn't seem like it matched the rest of the realism in the scene. So one thing I said I would do is add unsharp mask, which is something that you do to kind of add in that missing detail. So before, after, and do you guys see what I mean with that? If you want her mouth to be more cutesy, more of that kind of beautiful, typical triangle of beauty, you just have to take this lip corner we added and bring it closer in. That gives it that cutie look. So you're reducing the width of the mouth, meaning the triangle of beauty is smaller at the end. But really, if she's like a menacing dragon woman, you kind of want her to have those big teeth. In fact, it'd be cool if they added teeth. I'm just going to darken, but let the eyes, I'll delete away at them and kind of just give them that really glowy kind of magical eye. Just makes it look much more atmospheric. You sacrifice a little bit of their face visibility, but you amplify that dark magical atmospheric element. What do you guys think? Before, after, before, after. Can you fix Sentinel Veins face? If you guys want to give me these suggestions, you have to join my Discord. So go to istebrak.com and click on the subreddit icon right here. Oh, got lost in my own website. Click on the subreddit icon right here. It'll take you to the subreddit. Join us here. And if you want to submit suggestions for future League of Legends critiques, if you want me to just take a look at some of them, you guys can go to the community and you can send in the suggestions through the Discord server. And if you learned something today, if you benefited in any way, please consider joining as a $1 patron. That's just $1 a month for this entire Critique Hour. So the Critique Hour posted on YouTube is going to be posted short. But for those who want the full recording, please consider joining as a $1 patron. It supports the community. It keeps everything running. It keeps me here. And it's just $1 a month, $12 a year for all this educational content. Anyways, I'll let you guys go. Thank you all for watching. Bye, guys.